He that have an ear to hear, let him hear. All right, man. So we got to put down the idols, man. When we worship these idols, man, we become dumb just like them. Idols are dumb. They can't speak. They can't hear. They can't see. They don't have emotions. They don't have a heart. Our God is a living God. He speaks. He has action. He does work. He's life. He's existence. These things, they're not going to exist. They're not spiritual. They're material, right? So you got to understand that there's all kinds of idols all around. You have idols, that people, they wear. You have idols that people set up in their house. You have a lot of places of worship that they have idols, right? And the idols, what is it? It's an imaginary thing, right? Image. It's an image. So when you have these images, right, it gives you away from the real word of God. And these places of worship, they'll set them up so that they can tell you what they think the word of God says, or what they want you to think that the word of God says. So when you have this idol on your body, right, in your house, and in places of worship, what happens, man? You don't get to know the word of God. I'm a prime example. I have these idols, at a point in my life. I didn't know God. I didn't seek him. All I did was I had these idols on me, and I thought that they were protecting me. But I knew nothing about the word of God, right? So what happens with these idols, it makes you lazy. It makes you relax. You think that you can just do what you want. You think that all you got to do is go to a place of worship, and then after that, you go do whatever you want. And the thing is that when you have these false prophets with these idols taking advantage of you and promising you certain things that God didn't even promise you, that's where you become lost in the word, because you're trusting in an idol, something that's dumb, and it doesn't really talk to you. So the word of God, the actual readings and writings and the stories and the things of Jesus Christ and the things of the Old Testament and all those things, God and the prophets, these things, they all come together to teach us the real true God. And he always told us to get away from these idols. Always told us, because you have these kings, right, and these priests. They would set up these idols, and they would make images of themselves, of their family members, and they would set these images up and pretend that these images were God. And people wouldn't, they wouldn't even go find out who God is, because it allowed them to continue to do the things that they were doing, which was against God. So they would say, okay, I have this image, my priests have this image, and it's his son. They set up, the priest would set up his son so that his son could be heirs to the throne, become the next king. So everybody would worship his image and worship his picture. The same thing you got to think in Daniel with Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar set up a statue of himself, and everybody had to worship his statue. And you had people, they were with it because it allowed them to continue to do the things that they wanted to do, to become rich, selfish, and all that. Even if you go to Acts, Diana, they were worshiping Diana. I believe that was in Ephesians, in Acts, but in the town of Ephesus, so I forget the name of it, but they worshiped Diana because Diana was making the town rich, because they were making all these idols, and people would come all over to worship those idols, and they would pay a lot of money, and it was their economy, this idol worship, man. So a lot of people, they don't really want to pick up their cross and follow Jesus, right? So when Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me, he wasn't talking about an idol. He wasn't talking about the cross idol, the actual material cross. He was talking about, you got to think what a cross represents. It's a device of torture, and it represents a place you go to be humiliated by the public. So that's what happens when you pick up your cross and follow Jesus Christ. It's not actually picking up a cross and putting it in a demon's face and rebuking the demon, like, get away from me, get out of here, get out of here. Nah, that don't work. That's a lie. That's false. That's fake. That's TV. It's an image. It's imaginary. Real picking up your cross and following Jesus is to go through what he went through. Humiliation for this word, for his beliefs. Right? People, they're going to hate what you're doing because you're doing the right things. You're doing things against the world. The world wants to get rich. The world believes in greed. But we're teaching that this is false teachings. False teachings from these places of worship. And it's from ancient times where they passed down all these idols and pictures of angels and pictures of priests' sons and all that stuff. And you worship them and you sit there and worship them. You're actually worshiping another God. Because our God told us clearly not to worship or draw any images in heaven. Not to worship any images at all. Even if you think that it's an image of God, you don't worship it. You worship the words of Jesus Christ. You worship the words that is written in the book, the Bible. Okay? You cannot be ashamed. That's why when Jesus did say, pick up your cross and follow him, he said you have to deny yourself first. So you cannot even pick up this cross until you deny who you are in this world. A lot of you have all these titles. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, I'm that, and it don't have nothing to do with God. If it don't have nothing to do with God, you have to deny that. And that's how you pick up your cross. And yes, you will be humiliated putting down that kind of status and what? Lowering yourself, getting rid of your status in this world. People gonna be like, man, this dude just went crazy. That's public humiliation. That's denying yourself. That's picking up your cross. So I hope this lesson is edifying. God bless y'all. Pick that cross up.